So there has been a lot of stuff in the news about police brutality towards people, mostly black people. So you see a lot of the protesting of in Ferguson about Michael Brown being killed, being unarmed, an unarmed black kid being killed 6 to 8 times by a police officer. And so I talked about that in a different video. So check that out because I don't want to go into those details again. But I want to talk about police etiquette, okay? And this is really kind of talking to people that really get stopped a lot from the police and kind of what you need to keep in mind. Because I've been seeing a lot of different videos, such as this video right here.
So what's your business with me right now?
I want to find out who you are and what the problem was back
There
in the
is
first
no
National
problem.
Bank
That's
building.
the thing.
So talk to me, let me know
And
who
let you
are,
know.
and you can be on your way.
Why do I have to let you know who I am? Who I am isn't
Because
the
that's
problem.
what police do when they get called.
Well, I don't
to
have to let you.
identify people.
Well, I know my rights. First off, secondly,
Okay.
I don't have to let you know who I am if I haven't broken any laws. I told him, I'm going to New Horizons to pick up my kids at 10 o'clock. I was sitting there for 10 minutes. Fully.
Okay.
Like not before he walked up to me or anything.
Thank you for
He walked up to me a minute after and got irate with me.
Okay.
So first off, that's a public area. And if there's no sign that doesn't say this is a private area, you can't sit here, no one can tell me I can't sit there. If that's the case, then I can't sit here.
The problem was,
The problem is I'm black. That's the problem. No, it really is, because I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not sitting there with a group of people. I'm sitting there by myself. By myself. Not causing a problem with anyone. There isn't a sign that says this is a private area, you can't sit here. Therefore, you cannot tell me I can't sit there if I'm not doing anything wrong. What's going on, brother?
What's going on?
I gotta go get my kids.
No.
Please don't touch me. Please
Hey,
don't touch me.
You're gonna go to jail then.
No, wait.
You're gonna go to jail.
I'm not doing anything wrong.
Hold on.
Can you
Hold on.
please?
I'm not
No,
here-
no, come on, brother.
Hold on, I'm
please.
not here to
I didn't-
argue. I'm
Can
not
you
your
please?
brother.
This is assault. Can you
Hold on.
please?
I'm not here to
doing
argue with
anything
you.
wrong,
Would you
sir.
Put your hands behind your
I
back.
don't. No, can you please
Put
not
your hands
do
behind
this?
your back.
I didn't do anything wrong.
Put your hands behind your back.
Come on, really? I gotta go get my kids
Put
at
your
10.
hands behind your back, otherwise it's gonna get ugly.
What do you need from me?
I told you.
Can
I
you
want to
have
talk
him
to
let me
you
go?
and identify you so
I
we
done
can
told
settle
her
what
everything.
happened.
I haven't done
I've
anything
told
wrong.
you. I told you what I wanted initially.
And
so we could settle all
Put your hands
this.
behind your back.
You started to.
Right
I
now.
haven't done
You're gonna
anything
get
wrong.
tased. Hold
Please,
on.
no, don't do this. Please,
Put your hands
I
behind your
haven't
back.
done anything
Put your hands
wrong.
behind
I
your
haven't
back.
done
Get it
anything
out.
wrong. Can somebody help me? That's my kids right there. My kids are right there.
Yeah, put your hands behind your back.
Put your hands behind your back. Don't choke me. I have asthma, sir.
Well, you're
I'm
gonna
not
get
doing
tased.
anything. I'm not
Come on.
doing
You're gonna
anything.
get tased.
I'm doing. Ow! Get down! Get down! Get down! Get down! I'm not doing anything. Can you stop, please? Someone help me! Someone please help me! Please help me! Please help me! Can someone please help me? I haven't done anything wrong. Can someone please help me? Really?
help you.
I
Just
haven't
shut
done
down.
anything wrong.
Just shut down for
I
a little bit.
haven't- I've been talking to this lady the whole walk here. I told her.
Do you have any
No,
weapons?
sir. I'm trying to pick up my kids. Sir, come on now.
Picking up your kids doesn't
Hey,
override abiding with the law.
What law? What law did I break? This lady, come on. What law did I break? I was talking to you. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't curse at you. I didn't do anything. Tell you what I was doing. Officer, I'm not going to tell you what I have.
Oh, brother. Okay, so this comes down to what we want to really talk about, and that is police etiquette. Okay? So if you get stopped by the police, especially if you're black, okay? Now, you will probably disagree with this, but I just want to really give you, a little help. Now, there's 3 things that you should do, okay? If you get stopped by the police. Now, this is not from my experience. This is from everything I've been watching on these different videos that I watch on YouTube here. Like the video that I just showed you, okay? So if you're stopped by the police, or if they want to know, hey, where are you doing? Number 1, okay? Keep the conversation to a minimum. Don't say anything more that you do not need to say. Because remember, anything that you say could be used against you in some form. Don't do that. Okay, don't ask how the police is doing. How's the weather? I don't care how you're doing, okay? Simple as that. Keep it very minimal, okay? They're not your friend, okay? So just keep your conversation to a minimum, okay? So if they say, why are you sitting here? Like in that video. I'm going to pick up my kids. Okay. And if they say, well, actually, there's no like, well, what school did they go to? They go to school X. Keep your conversation to a minimum. Okay. Number 2, just do or give what the police are asking for. If you did not commit a crime, you have nothing to hide. You got nothing to be worried about. So if they want to see your ID card, then fine. Here's my driver's license card. I don't have nothing to hide. Go for it. If you need to do that, then you go ahead and do that. Okay? Is it wrong? Yes, it's wrong. Yes, you're not allowed to give your ID card if you have not committed a crime. I get that. I understand that. Okay? And it's your choice if you want to basically fight against that, or if you just want to say, you know what, let me pick my battles. And that's not a battle I want to fight. Now this guy has kids. And I'm thinking to myself, come on, man, you got kids here. They want to see your identification. Give them your identification. You got to pick up your kids. Don't challenge that. Pick your battles. Okay? What did Jay-Z say? You got 99 problems, but this shouldn't be one of them. Don't do that. Okay? You're waiting for your kids. Don't put your kids in a compromising situation here where, oh, my dad's being pulled away. Give them the fucking ID card or driver's license card so they can run the background check. Unless you have something to hide, then I can't help you there. But I have a feeling that he had nothing to hide. He should just done it though. But I think he was just making a stand saying, no, I'm not going to do it. I know my rights. I got it. I get it. It makes perfect sense. I agree with you though. But you got to pick your battles. Okay? And when you do that, that could happen, what you saw in that video though. So please just give them what they were asking in terms of driver license or identification. Okay? You had nothing to hide, you had nothing to worry about. Okay? And number 3, do not draw any attention to yourself. Anything that is very aggressive. Okay? So don't be like, I hate this. Don't do that. That's very aggressive though. And that could make them kind of act violently or very aggressive themselves. Keep calm. Keep the conversation to a minimum and answer their questions and give them what they actually need. Now, that's your choice. Okay, you can fight it. You can say, no, I know my rights. You can do that. I'm just trying to give you a little bit of brotherly advice. Look, I definitely understand the experiences of being a minority and being harassed by the police. Okay, so this happened to me once. This happened back in 1994. After I graduated from high school, I went to college. I went to San Jose State University, and I was there for the fall semester. And after that semester, I was back home. And back home is near Richmond, California. Now, Richmond, California is not the safest place to be. Now, it was not in Richmond. It was actually in El Sobrante. Okay. And so I was back there, for the winter break. And I called up an old friend from high school and said, hey, I'm back from school. Let's catch up. So he said, yeah. So we went to a local mall, which is Hilltop Mall. So we met there around 7 o'clock. So it wasn't very dark. And we were just outside walking around, just talking. Now, keep in mind, there were other people walking around as well. Not many people, just a few people here and there. But they were all white. Okay? And some of them, they had their pants, sagging. They had their hats backward and they had like graffiti on their shirts. Okay? But they were white. Anyway, suddenly 2 cop cars come up. One in front of us, one behind us. My buddy next to me, which is Hispanic, by the way. So you have this one black guy and Hispanic guy walking around the mall. So my buddy said, here we go again. And me, I'm like, what? Because I never experienced that before in my life yet. So the police come out and they say, good evening, gentlemen. And I'm like, good evening. Is there a problem? And I'm thinking, yes, because you're here to have a friendly conversation with me. Okay. Whenever the police shows up, it's because there's a problem. So I'm like, what's the problem here? So he said that, well, we got a couple of reports that two guys are breaking into cars around the mall. And, I was young, of course. I was like, 18 or 19 at the time. And I said, okay, so once again, what's the problem? I'm back from school. I'm meeting with an old friend. So what's the problem? So the police officer said, well, we just want to ask you some questions, though. I said, interesting, though, because you stopped us, but you did not stop any of the other white people, which do look and dress the part. Okay, so, not very smart for me to really say that, but I was very agitated at this time, And, so the police told me, you need to calm down. We just want to ask you some questions. So we just answered the questions. We said, no, we've been walking around. I said, look, I'm happy to provide you my identification card. Okay? I do not have a criminal background. I have never committed a crime. I've never been arrested. I don't do drugs. I don't drink. That's just not what I do. Okay? And I'm happy to give you my identification card that can actually show that. So he did ask for our identification cards, and we gave it to him, and he ran it, and he came back and said, okay, gentlemen, here's your cards, and enjoy the rest of your evening. And they just drove away. But they did not stop again to any of the other Caucasians that were walking on the side of the road. I was so angry, though. And my friend told me, he said, look, that's just how it is around here. Okay? He said, that's why you're going to college and you're basically not going to be coming or living in a place like this. So you have nothing to worry about. So that was really my first experience with that. And I can definitely understand the frustration that particular black people have when that happens to them on a regular basis, though. Because it happened to me once, and I definitely saw that with my own eyes, with my own experiences, that they were reporting basically somebody that were breaking into cars. But you did not stop any of the other Caucasians that were also walking basically like on the other side of the street. That's the difference that I can definitely tell people. That is a different kind of experience, though, that people don't seem to understand. So here's the reality. So after that particular incident back in 1994, that has never happened to me again. I've never been stopped or questioned by the police. It just never happened. I mean, last year, for example, when my daughter was going to kindergarten, okay, and I would be there like 15 minutes early because you need to get a good parking spot. And I have a fairly nice car, And, so I park, in a good spot, and I wait in my car, before I pick her up. Interesting. You got some black guy waiting in the car. Could be very suspicious. And sometimes police do drive by, but they're involving in other activities. I've never been stopped. I've never been questioned. People see me in the car, for crying out loud. Sometimes they wave at me, and I wave back at them, and I don't know who they are. Okay? Even this year, with my son being in 4th grade and my daughter now being in 1st grade, okay? I go to the school, and I basically wait for them to come out. I bring my book and I read. I do my networking technologies. I never get questioned by the police. No one says, he looks suspicious. So I have never encountered that experience. Now you can say, it's basically where you live then, right? Well, I'm also a network consultant. So I do a lot of work. I used to do a lot of work. I changed how I do my business now. But I used to do a lot of travel to San Francisco, to San Jose, to Pleasanton, to Livermore, to Palo Alto, all these areas, okay? And where I live now in the Central Valley of California, it is like an hour away from everything. So it takes me like an hour just to get there and an hour to get back. So if I'm done with the project for a customer, like at 5 o'clock, I'm not driving back in that rush hour traffic. I'll just kind of go somewhere and just read and catch up on some work. Okay? And then I may drive back around like 9 o'clock at night and be home around 10:30 or 11 o'clock. This happened a lot. And there were cops around. I was never stopped. And that then begged the question, what is really going on then? I'm not being stopped, but black people are getting fed up because their experiences is that they are always being stopped and harassed. So that is one of the big epiphanies that I just don't understand. I try to figure it out. And the only conclusion that I possibly have is that it is based on probably where you live. So I live in a middle class community, okay? So my kids go to a middle class school. And, if I work for companies, they're like middle class, small businesses or big businesses that I do work for. And I'm guessing that this happens probably more in the lower class poverty type of communities. That if you're in that particular community, then you're more likely to be stopped. And it just happened that where I live, it's not really the best community at all. I mean, it wasn't bad. Okay, I want to give you the impression that where I lived in El Sobrante that was horrible. No, that's not true at all. Okay, but I would say it's probably on the lower end of the upper middle class. And it just happened that statistically that day, yes, I was stopped with my friend because that's just how it is in that kind of a community, though. That if you're black or if you are a minority, it's very likely that you will be stopped. I got that. Okay. And, so that's what I really think that it comes down to. And sure, maybe also based on appearances, presentation, which is also sometimes very weird to me because people say, yeah, probably stopped them because, they had like their pants sagging, they had their hat backwards. Look, I wear my hat backwards. I'm gonna put these back in here. Okay. This is the hat that I wear a lot. Now, I wear it when I have more hair on my head, of course, right? But this is how I wear my hat. And remember when I said that I pick up my daughter and I'm in my car, and it's a black car, by the way, so that can probably bring more attention. Like there's this black guy with his hat backwards in the car. Okay. I don't get stopped. I don't get questioned. This is actually what I wear. I don't wear it the other way around. Because for me, I like to see. It has a better, I see better though. I don't like this because, it kind of blocks my vision here. So I don't like that at all. Okay. So when people say that, I'm like, well, that's not true either though. Because I wear my hat like that and I don't get looked upon as strange. Now, of course, there's a lot of Caucasians where I live that also wear their hat backwards like that. So what could it be? Well, maybe it's also based on complexion. And that's what I think that's what the problem could be. That the darker complexion that you are, that the more likely you will experience more type of racism, whether it's from people or even from the police. Okay? It's interesting though, because there's a comedian named Ari Spears, and he made this joke like, well, our president is light skinned, like my complexion. If he was a darker complexion, okay, like Bernie Mac black, or Precious purple, okay, then that probably would not happen. That would actually scare white people. That's what he said. It was a funny joke. You should check that out on YouTube. But that could be another contributing factor as well. I'm thinking that. I mean, again, I don't know. I'm just trying to make sense of things, I'm trying to make sense of the world that I live in. And that is one component that exists. And it could be a particular case for why things are happening.